All right, here we go with a new program today. We'll take it to breathing to start, whether you prefer the face up or face down position. Either works. Just get yourself comfortable, lining up your posture, maybe a chin tuck, just settling in through the shoulders and the low back. And then just focusing on slowing the pace of the breath down. Nice deep inhale and a long, slow exhale. After your next breath cycle, we'll take it over to a all fours position. And I'm going to start with just extending one leg back straight and rocking through my foot, pushing my hands away and getting a good stretch through my heel and calf. And then as I rock forward, I'm trying to get some bend or extension in my toes. So about 10 pulses, just focusing on that end range that you can get through the heel and calf and then through the toes. And just having the fingers spread and the connection of the shoulders. Head is not dropped down, so chin tuck. After 10, switch sides. And we'll take it up into a down dog, lifting the hips. And now slowly pulsing the heels towards the floor. You can weight shift forward into your hands, get some bend in those toes, and come back up. Just play with your position, whether you want to bend one knee and alternate your heel pump or keep it at both. Coming out of this, we'll come to a 90 position and start on some hip turns. Sorry, I kind of showed it and then I saw that I was doing this first in the program. So just taking yourself to an upright posture, supporting yourself through your back and warming up the hips. As you allow the knees to fall to the end range, just be thinking about letting go and whether or not you can sink just a little bit more into that internal and external. Okay, so now we'll take it to one side, just through your hips, about 90 degrees through the knee, and taking some pulses forward to different angles to stretch the front hip mostly. Now, as you go forward, if you turn your torso towards your foot, you're putting this hip into more rotation, so it could feel like a little bit more stretch response or feedback. You can also push your leg into the floor, so between your knee and foot as you come forward, push down, and then sinking into that stretch just a little deeper. When I push down, it actually makes a pretty big difference. Coming down to the elbow, now we'll focus on the back hip, just trying to get a straight line here between my hip and knee, and then working on my internal rotation. And you can also push down here between your knee and foot. Doesn't look like I'm doing much, but I'm pushing into the floor. And when I push into the floor, I do feel a little change in the tension through my hip. You want to try and get this internal rotation happening without moving the rest of the body. So just if you haven't done this kind of work, it's not going to come up as far as my leg, but this is something that's really worth time to work on, internal rotation. All right, we'll take it over to the other side, perhaps trying hands free, adjust, and then into the hip pulses. Again, that reminder to change the angle of your torso and push in as you hinge forward. Feels good. And then down to the elbow on this side for your internal. Return to some nice deep breathing. And take it to the ankle mobility in sitting today. So I'm just coming up one leg straight, and I'm going to hook my hand underneath my knee. And from here, I'm just putting my hand underneath my kneecap, and I'm going to go through some ankle turns. So I'm window wipering my foot. And with my hand underneath my knee, I can feel the bones turning underneath my knee. And then take it to some ankle inversion and eversion. So trying to move the sole of the foot in and out. And then some circles, nice big open toes. Good. And then we'll switch sides. So hook, hand underneath, window wiper. You can feel those bones in your lower leg rotating underneath your knee, as they should, and then rotating the sole of the foot in and out, spreading my toes, and then taking it into some big circles. I honestly don't know if I prefer doing ankles on my back or that way. Been doing it on the back for so long. Why not change it up? All right, so here's my half kneeling. Next up, we're going to half kneeling hinges to the down knee side and some deep rocks into the hip. And I've opened up my front foot. So I'm not in just half kneeling. I take my front foot, open it up, pivot the back foot across the midline, and now I've got lots of room to sit into my hip. Now you can hold the weight over your hand. Make sure you're not in a shrug, and then just slowly look up at your fingertips and then down at your hand. You want to gently move your neck, right? So getting some neck mobility, but not allowing yourself to collapse through your shoulders or fall into a shrug. So I'm really pushing my hand and centering my shoulder. Okay, let's switch sides and do the same thing. So front foot wider, back foot pivoted, hand to the down knee side, some deep rocks into your hip. A really great way to get deeper into your hip. And then holding the weight over your hand, making sure you're not in a shrug, and turning. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the other side and grab a ball. I'm going to start this new program week 1 with some technique on something called the half kneeling bent press. If you know the half kneeling bent press, you can go ahead and do this with a weight as opposed to a ball. I'm taking the ball to the up knee side, and it's a similar setup where you take your front foot out a little wider and pivot the back foot. The option here is one open of the shoulder, and then I just rotate a little bit in that same direction. Now I can come down to my hand, or I can come down to my elbow, depending on that hip mobility. Once you're down at the elbow, I'm just gently looking up at my hand I take a deep breath in and I come all the way back up. Make sure my hips are tucked under and work the lowering phase. So it looks like this. Open the shoulder, rotate a tiny bit, take a breath, and decide if your mobility is going to be hand or elbow. And you see, as I come down to my elbow, I sit into my hip. That looks great. Take another breath, come up, own the shoulder, and pull back down. Okay, we'll do one more. So 3 per side. Half kneeling bent press. Nice big breath in, open up and pull. Switching sides. Walk that front foot out, pivot the back so you've got some room. Shoulder opener, little rotation. If you're somewhere between the hand and the elbow, you could always put a pillow or a foam block or something down on the floor so you don't have to go all the way down. But with some practice, sitting into those hips, you'll find this move will become more fluid. All right, so as we progress through this program, we will load this more and it'll be fun to teach. Next up, bear hold, plank with mountain climbers, and then a lower. So coming back to all fours, take your knees off the floor. Breathe in a couple, 3 breath cycles to your bear. When you're ready, you step back into a high arm plank. Here's a mountain climber, slowly taking one foot off, bringing my knee underneath my hip, alternating sides, and then bringing myself slowly down to the floor. Okay, go ahead and do that a few more times. Modifications could be putting a big pillow underneath your front side. Staying with the bear, for example, if the plank felt too challenging. But I get a sense that those that are taking this class and are able to get a variation of this exercise done. Next up, I'm going to go right to the get up today. So bit of a kettlebell influence. So we'll take it to get up. If you know the full get up, please go ahead and do the full get up. And I'm going to do my first one with a ball because when I'm coaching online here, I don't want to have too much weight overhead while I'm looking at the camera. But here, setting myself up, same arm up as knee that's bent, opposite arm and leg out on a bit of a snow angel. Tuck my chin and away I go. Just taking some time through the steps, making sure I'm not shrugged. Sitting into those hips. Stand up tall. You got it. And through. Other side. Nice job. The third exercise is a double bridge with the option of putting a loop band on. So coming to the double bridge position, the loop band provides a bit more resistance in the pushing out of the knees. I'm going to turn this way so you can see I'm going to bridge up, and at the top of the bridge, I'm going to pulse out nice and slow, then come back to my neutral position and reset my bridge. So as you pulse out, be mindful that you're staying connected with your feet. You're not kind of rolling or disconnecting off the floor with your feet. Your feet have to be wide enough, depending on your band, that there's a little tension. You're adjusting the rest of your posture. Come up, pulse out, slowly come back and down. We'll do 10 of these. Great job. Now I'm going to go through the 3 exercises, starting with the bear, plank, and lowers again. So let's challenge ourselves. I'll try and give you some options. How long you hold this for could be an option. Spreading the fingers, connecting through the shoulders. Nice deep breathing in and out. There's 3 breath cycles for me. I step back and tighten up my hips. Once I establish my full high arm plank, I'm slowly taking 1 foot off, trying to keep my shoulders and hips level. Then a nice slow lower to a pillow or all the way down to the floor. Coming back up, resetting, shaking out wrists, whatever you need to do to get that neutral back, knees off the floor. Here we go again. Focus on that breath. Step back into your plank. Pull the hands towards your toes. Tighten up your hip muscles. Here's my mountain climber and my slow lower. 3 of those and then into a get up. Taking it through a full get up. This time I'll take a little load. It changes a few things. Keeps you more present maybe when you have a load as opposed to a ball. But also the breath. There's this expression, use your breath to the imposed demand. So that might be a little bit more breath control and sort of light bracing of your torso if you have a weight as opposed to a ball. And take a breath in, especially at these pivot points where you're hinging and coming to half kneeling. Even here before I stand up, take a breath in, stand up. That's going to help stabilize my pelvis. Step back, get control of my toes. There we go. Just being mindful of how things feel as you go through the get up practice. Looks great, everyone. Side 2. Set up the get up with the posture. Coming out of this, we're going to go back to those banded bridges with the option of making them a little harder by putting a weight over the crease of your hips. If you found the banded version hard enough, then just stick with that. And if you don't happen to have a band, then you're watching this video, then just do this pulse without a band and come back down. Here's a kettlebell that I'm just going to carefully place across my hips, hang on to it lightly, adjust my feet, and now I'm turning this into a weighted hip bridge. Very important to make sure you've not got a huge arch in your back. You're teetering your torso, so your low back curve is there, but not flat. But I feel like my rib cage is really integrated in my front side. I'm not coming up with a big arch in through here. So just work with that. So as you lift, the prime movers are your hips. And then up, pulse, back down, up, pulse, back down. So there's a lot going on. You got to stay focused or you forget the pulse. Wonder who did that. Here we go. And up to 10 of these, you should feel the work coming from those hips. Oh, keeping the band on as we finish off those bridges. Don't let me rush you. Finish off your reps, but keep the band on and we'll come to standing. Doing some balance reaches with the band. It's going to feel a little different. So take some time to establish your connection through one foot. And now you're going into your balance reach. You might not feel like you can go quite as far with the band because that's going to limit you, but you do have a little resistance there. Let's try 3 per side. Nice. And the last one with the band, we'll come into a slight hinge position and go to some taps on a straight out to the side, then back on a 45, and then reverse. Now, I want to say between 5 and 10 taps. You're going to have to modify this 5 and 10 taps in each direction. I'm trying to get some reciprocal arm work in. Been thinking about that more and more as I go through different exercises. So see if you can get that opposite hand pattern to the leg tap back on a 45 now. My band's pretty tight, so 5-6 reps is giving me a good activation through my hip. And then the last one is your reverse, right? So reverse tap as I step back. I'm trying to tighten up through my hip. Good. Okay, and then switching sides. So again, if your band is loose, modify those reps so you get some work, feeling of work and adaptation. Here's my second side. 6 feels about right. And perhaps through week 6 of this program, I can get myself to 10 or 15 with this duly noted new blue band. Okay, this is why I'm whining. All right, good stuff. Bands off. First exercise in the next set is reverse lunge with a weight on the moving side. So if I take a weight to my right shoulder, could be a dumbbell or a kettlebell, I'm going to step back on that right side and then to step forward. I'm looking for 6 to 8 reps. Bend those back toes, control the lower, and get to work. Very nice. Six feels like a good amount of work. Change it up. Do 8 if it's too easy and you feel like you want to up that just a little. And then the second exercise is a row with yourself positioned with something you can anchor your hand on. So could be a wall, could be a fireplace, could be a couch, but you want to create that connection. So I'm pushing my hand in and then a single arm row. The weight is in the same hand as the foot that's staggered back. You want to bring the elbow up to the side waist, not too much higher but really feel like you're working your shoulder blade towards your spine and the back side of your shoulder. With this one, I could stay 6 to 8 reps again, but make sure you don't, if it's too easy again, bring it up to 10. We really want to work this back side. Pushing the hand into something closes that connection through your core. So it's a lot more work. Breathe. And then we'll take a weight to a side bend. So for this, I'm taking, just gonna see that people will let everybody catch up. So side bend for the core, taking a weight on one side, making sure you're standing with good posture, your knees are not locked out. You're leaning to one side, shortening here, and then bring it back. This should feel good through the musculature. You're not going too far or too heavy, but try 6 reps. Come back up to posture every time. Being mindful of the weight you're using as we go through this a second time. If this feels too easy, like I'm not really doing too much, going heavier, a little slower, or more reps would be options. And the last exercise in the set is going to be push-ups. So we've done some lowers with our bear plank. Now you can do push-ups against an elevated surface or come to the floor, establish your plank position. It could be a full push-up or a mini push-up or a combination of lowers. Feeling like you're working your shoulder blades together as you pull yourself down and push the floor away. Kind of all have that number that we know we're working on. So I don't really program maybe sometimes I'll say 6 of something. Let's go back through this again. Rep ranges are always approximate. Okay, so reverse lunge with the weight on the moving side. I'm going to go 1 kettlebell heavier and see how my control is. Stepping back, weight on right. There we go. Nice work. Get control of those toes. And 6. Good. Now what about your bent over row? You're going to go heavier with this as well. Square those shoulders. Push into something. Breathe. Good. 6 felt good with my new weight. Switch sides, square everything up. Nice work. Into the lateral bends. Taking a weight on one side. This is 10 kilograms. So this is 20 kilograms of work over here. Being mindful of how far I go. kind of working into my shoulders as well. You can inhale as you go to the side. You could exhale as you come up. I don't really think it has to be coordinated with breath, but see how changing that breath feels on your body. If you do the reverse of that, inhale and then exhale as you lean, might actually feel like you get a little further. Really great way to work the side waist and side core. All right, so let's do another set of our push-ups and then we'll move on. So taking some time to establish that number again, where you were in the practice. Spread the fingers. Step back, activate the hips. Have you got one more in the tank? Can you take a short break and then just reset? Give yourself one more repetition. Sometimes that's a nice trick to add on. Okie dokie. So that's 2 sets. Now we're going to move to a one-sided deadlift. And if you're new to deadlifting, you're probably better to start your hip hinge with the weight in the center. We've been doing different variations of deadlifts over this course of this class. In a one-sided deadlift, I'm going to set myself with my hip hinge and just pick up on the one side and then come back down. So what I'm trying to avoid is rotating or leaning into the weighted side. So this is a little harder than having 2 hands on the weight and here. So if you want an easier option and you haven't done this before, it's 2 hands on the weight. About 5 per side. Set, breathe in, lift. Another breath in and lower. So I'm just creating a little intra-abdominal bracing or connection with my lifts. Up and down. Trying to stay square. Nice tall position at the top. The one-sided deadlift. I'm going to take us through a light shoulder series. If you have 2 or 3 pound weights, this would be good. Depending on the health of your shoulders, you might want to just do this body weight. So after you finish your lifts, then we're just taking ourselves through a little series of shoulder work, externally rotating and internally rotating. Okay, be mindful as we go through this that your shoulders aren't getting too fatigued for the weights that you've chosen. Here's the lateral fly. I'm aiming for about 6 of these moves. These are 2 pound dumbbells that I have in my hands. Now taking yourself into some external rotation, going a little slower and trying to control this, staying out of my neck, working my shoulders. If you're getting fatigued, put the weights down. And then the last one after 6 of these is here and reaching up overhead. Just warming up the shoulders because we have a shoulder press ahead. Okay, now let's take it back to the one-sided deadlift, all right? I feel like I might have rushed some of you. How many reps are you doing? If it's quite light, you certainly could go up to 10 reps. This is on the heavier side. I'm doing 5. I'll show you from the side. Nothing looks any different than when I have 2 hands on the weight. I just want to control my posture and my core with the lift and with the lower. I'm not turning or leaning in. If going to the floor feels like it's too far for you, you elevate the weight on some magazines or a box. You want to make sure you're able to get back into the hinge without putting stress into your back. So your feet could be a little wider. That sometimes gives you a little bit more room. That looks great. Okay, now we'll go into the overhead press. So now you're just picking a weight that you can do 5 to 8 reps with in an overhead press from a standing position. And pull. Looking straight ahead, opening up the shoulder, not shrugging, pull back down. Felt like work. Not too easy, not too hard. Switching sides. Good. Now I combined a move from our last program into this next move. So with weight or body weight, you're going to step to the side. I'm using my right leg. Step to the side, come up, and then curtsy with that same leg. So there's two parts to this. You're stepping to the side, hips go back, stand back up, right leg's moving, and into the curtsy. Take your time. This is a great exercise for your hips, your legs. Working through 5, 6 cycles, a cycle being one step to the side and one curtsy. Pushing off, sinking in. Love it. Great job. Back to the shoulder press. Was it heavy enough? Grab a little water. I'm going to go one dumbbell size up. See how I do. Make sure your knees aren't locked out. You want to be able to press and pull, floating the weight over your feet, not leaning to the side or back as you press. Looking strong. Nothing like pressing weight overhead. Puts you in a good mood. Now we'll go back to the lateral lunge and the curtsy. Now for this set, I'm going to go a little heavier as well. Just keep an eye on my form. When you go heavier, if it breaks your form down and you can't complete it with good quality, then you should just end that, go back to the weights, a little bit more practice, a little bit more time with a lower weight. Five. Good job. Okay, let's take it to a little fast feet, fast hands for 30 seconds. We'll rev up the engines, just working to get the heart rate up. Come on. 15 seconds to go. Can you pick it up? 10 seconds to go. And taking it to a little twist on the extension reach. So you've got one extension reach up, come down, and then into a single leg balance. Back to your extension reach, up, down, opposite foot, single leg balance. When I was writing this program at my desk, I jumped up and I tried this and I was like, wow, that actually is quite a bit more challenging than just the extension reaches or just the balance. So reach up, lift those heels, get your calves involved. You want to make your balance more dynamic? Sure. Reach your arms forward and your leg out. You can go a little bit further. Up, down, here, could be here. We'll go for 20 more seconds. Hang in there. Lots of good things going on with your balance and hips. Good extension reach, excellent for posture. Coming into your last rep, and we'll back to fast feet and fast hands. 30 seconds. We got it. Come on. Get those elbows back. 10 more seconds. I'm going to take us into 3, 2, 1 and freeze. And once you do this a few times, if you feel like you can do it with weight, just be mindful of what you choose. And you can add some load. We'll go for the next 30 seconds. Try to change the angle that you're balancing on. Little bone density work. Some force in through your foot, ankle, knee, and hip. Last 5 seconds. And today I'm going to finish with a set of bicep curls. So you need to change your weights how do. Just take your time going through 6 to 10 bicep curls. And remember, when you're doing the tape version of this class, you can always stop the tape and do an extra set, rewind it a bit. Here's my slight hinge position into a tricep extension, being mindful that I'm not in a shrug. I'm trying to stay out of my neck and work evenly on both sides as I extend my elbow and push that weight back. Wow, growing your strength went fast and fun today. Thank you so much for your attention to the new program. Have a wonderful week. Thanks for joining.